In this lesson, we will learn about logical operators in SQL. Previously, you learned that an operator is a reserved keyword that helps in data access and manipulation. They are mostly used within where clause condition. Logical operators in particular are those operators which may be used to combine certain conditions when you write queries to assess whether something is true or false. Here are some common logical operators that you will use. Let's go through them individually. First, we have the AND operator. Suppose you have several conditions in a where clause. With AND, it returns a logical true value if all the conditions are true. Otherwise, it returns a false value. For the OR operator, however, it returns a logical true value if one of the conditions are true. Otherwise, it returns false. Next, we have the NOT operator, which is used for negation purpose. That is, it reverses the logical result. Then we have the IN operator. This is used for comparison between a value to a list of values. It checks if a certain value is present in a given list or not. True if it is present, false if it is not present. Then we have the between operator, which helps in defining a range of values. That is, it returns a true if the value is in between the specified minimum and maximum. Two more frequently used logical operators are the any and all operator. However, we'll cover them in more detail in the next lesson, since they use comparison operators, which will be discussed subsequently. Now, let's go to the dbfiddle and do some hands-on example on how to implement the logical operators using our case study on the dbfiddle again. We will be referring to the user and the user activities table. I already have the DDL and insertion command with me for both the user activity table and the user table. These will be provided to you for reference in the LMS. Let's look at our tables first. As expected, we have the user activity table on the top with 4 rows, and below we have the user table with 3 rows. Now let's see the logical operators in action. Let us first see the AND operator. Here's a simple query from the table user activity, where and engagement greater than 1. So essentially, we are selecting all the columns from our user activity table. But specifically, we want to return the observations where the user ID is equal to 1 and the engagement value is greater than 1. Note that we will cover more comparison operators in the next lesson. But for this example, we have the equal to operator and the greater than operator. This is quite straightforward. The AND logical operator, it implies that both the conditions, that is, the user ID equal to 1 and the engagement greater than 1, have to be true in order for the respective data to be returned. Now let's run the query to see what all observations get returned from the where clause. Therefore, this query only gives us the first observation of the user activity table, where the user ID is equal to 1 and the engagement is 2, which is greater than 1. In a similar manner, let's observe the OR operator in action. Now here again, essentially, we are selecting the data from the user activities table, but we specifically want to return the observations where the user ID is equal to 1 or the engagement value is greater than 1. Before, with the AND operator, both these conditions had to be satisfied to be true. Now with OR, only one of these have to be true. That is, the data that will get returned will satisfy either of these two conditions. Either the user ID is 1, either the engagement is greater than 1, or both the user ID is 1 and the engagement is greater than 1. Let us run this query. Therefore, this query returns 3 observations. Our first observation is the same row as a result of the AND condition, where both conditions are satisfied. Our second row is where one condition gets satisfied, even though the engagement here is less than 1. The condition that is true is user ID is equal to 1. For the last row, even though the user ID is equal to 3, the condition that is true is engagement is greater than 1. Now let's proceed with the not operator. Here we are selecting the data from the user table, but specifically we want to return the observations where the user countries does not have USA. It's a straightforward negation operation that reverses the meaning of the condition equal to USA. Let us run this query. Therefore, we get this data. These observations do not contain or do not equal to USA in the country column. It has UK and India, but not USA. Let us see the in operator. Here again, we are selecting the data from the user table, but specifically, we want to return the values where the user's country, that is the particular column user country, is in USA or UK. To be more specific, the in operator will check if the user country value is present in the given list, that is USA and UK. Let us run this query. Therefore, we get this data. We observe that the rows having USA or UK are present. The rows that are having user country as India is not present because we have not given India in our list. Let's move to between operator. So we are fetching the data from the user activity table, but specifically we want to return the observations where the engagement values are between 1 and 5, where 1 is our minimum value and 5 is our maximum value. The engagement value column, the values inside it has to be between this range. Note that these values are included for this logical operation. So for instance, if a row has 1 present in engagement, it will return the data. Let me run this query. Therefore, we got this result. We observe that the rows having an engagement within the specified range of 1 to 5 gets returned. Okay, now we have seen several logical operators with the help of an example. In the next lesson, we are going to see the comparison operators.